mixed reality. At Microsoft, I focused on mixed reality, which is an umbrella term for experiences across a spectrum. One being, mobile device, being able to have augmented reality. On the other end of the spectrum, being able to have like a VR headset where you're fully immersed. One thing that's exciting about mixed reality is you have the ability to see the real world and digital objects at the same time. And what I do is I help customers, large and small, understand what's possible with immersive technology, but specifically, like, what problems can you solve? I love tech. I've been doing it since I was 12, but I realized that, being able to understand what problems are you trying to solve. It's cool to have the technology, but you have to know, like, what is it going to mean for the people that you're interacting with, the communities that you're involved with. And so I help customers understand, okay, what are the use case scenarios? What's value that could be brought to that community by leveraging this technology? And I look forward to kind of showcasing some of those examples and kind of ideating with you all today.
Thanks. But I'd like to know, always compared to what we have here in Africa, there's still, in Angola especially, I'll talk about my country, we're a little bit behind with regards to technology and actually, the announcement. We're not doing as much as we should, like in schools, university, to make students aware of the importance of technology for the future. And how was it received by the young generation in America? The immersive technology that you've been dealing with.
So the question is, how is it received?
Yeah, people like
I think we have a problem.
Yeah, I think he froze.
Yeah.
So I think he's talking about the perception of the tech being received on the continent is different from what's happening in the States, correct? So, so basically, how we can improve that, I believe.
Yeah. So, in regards to students' perception and access to immersive technologies, this is something that even in the States, everyone doesn't have access to augmented and virtual reality. This is something that's still new, even for schools that have lots of access to technology. They're wondering, like, how do we find value in being able to visualize things in 3D, whether it's via phone, whether it's 360 video, or whether it's through virtual reality. And this is something that I'm currently trying to evangelize, even here in the States, of saying, well, here's a new way of thinking. Here's a new way of being able to tell stories. Here's a new way of being able to consume information. And one of the things that's interesting when it comes to students is, like, school is sometimes boring. And they're like, well, we don't really like the way school is. We have to do things in a certain way. And there's now this concept of neurodiversity. Everyone doesn't learn in the same way and be able to perceive information in certain ways. And so this medium of being able to use virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality, XR, the whole umbrella, allows students to be able to express themselves in a way that's natural for them, but also being able to visualize things that maybe they couldn't visualize by looking at a book.
Thanks. Very well said. We have a couple of problems with the network. I think it's sorted now, but managed to actually understand most of what you said. But one, you said that even the students still asking how they're going to use it. So for a lot of people around the world, it's still something pretty much new. That we're thinking, oh, it's only for PlayStation use or for Xbox, but actually it's already been used for industry, for education, for science. So it's pretty much something that we should not leave it for a later stage. It's something that we should start implementing now, start learning, trying to understand how it operates and how it can actually affect our development, as human beings. So it's really good so that we can actually be on the same point and try to get to know on the same level, It just get more information and more knowledge. Thank you. I'm going to speak now to Aram Ibrahim from Nigeria. Hi there, Aram, once again. 360 VR developer. I played with VRs, and it was pretty much interesting in the first 5 minutes, but then I started getting dizzy, because I was using I went to this game and to choose a car, Lamborghini, right? And I put the glasses on, and I even started sweating for a couple of minutes, because it was so intense. It was so real, and I don't know. I want to understand how does your passion come about, and how does 360 VR as a 360 area? How are you engaging with the communities? How are you engaging with students? How with even the government? Because they also need some help with that. I'd like to know a little bit more.
Okay, great. So thank you so much for the introduction. Hi everyone, my name is Aram Ibrahim. I'm a 360 VR. So VR stands for Virtual Reality Developer. I run a startup called Express Immersive, and an initiative called Immersive Tech Africa that is passionate about democratizing the technology on the continent. And my journey has been amazing, I would say. Also challenging, because sometimes we have struggled with learning the tech and building a community at the same pace. But for us, it's just seeing how we can, first of all, understand the technology, know how it works, right? Then see how we can build with it before we can adopt it, right? And for us, we are doing so well in the first two phases, right? So we understand the tech currently. We are building with it, and now we want to see how we can encourage businesses, organizations to adopt the technology, because XR is going mainstream, and it will not be good for Africa to be left behind, right? Just like what it used to always say, pursue the money, see what we can create with it, and just make an impact, right? So that's what has been going on for us. And in terms of community initiatives, right? For us, I can also say, like Walid would also say, right? It's about passing our knowledge, because we don't have as much XR developers as we have on the continent. So let's see how we can train, mentor, and support these guys. And I'm glad Eric is on the call. He was part of our XR Innovation Bootcamp that happened last month, if I'm correct. And he was able to inspire some amazing talents here in Nigeria, right? To get started with the tech, to build with it, and also see how they can start a career around it. So the tech is good, and we're getting ready to adopt it fully.
Okay. So one thing that I understood that you have not enough developers. What you guys look for is to actually teach and help them to understand and bring more of this experience to the rest of the society in Nigeria, right?
Exactly. Not just Nigeria, Africa. It's Africa.
Of course, yes. One thing that I understand about this is, like, if usually human beings are scared of what they can't understand. I mean, what is your technique? How do you do it in order to get to a company and try to get there to develop that could actually bring about a change to the specific company? How do you do it?
Okay, let me give you a scenario, for example. So XR is amazing, no doubt, right? But on the continent, adoption is low, right? Because one, the hardware is expensive, right? Trying to understand the tech is also complicated, right? So what we're trying to do is to have use cases, right? For example, maybe a school is trying to teach a new subject, or maybe onboard students on how to learn better, right? So maybe they want to learn maybe the human reproductive system or respiratory system, right? So instead of normally having it on a drawing board or on your notebooks, right, you can implement augmented reality using their mobile phones, right? It's cheap to adopt, it's cheap to implement. So students in the classroom can see the respiratory system in their own environment and learn more about it, right? So just having use cases that basically aligns to us more will help support the adoption of the technology.
Right. But how do you find experience so far? Has it been easy? Is it being well received? Do you have more support from organizations, from this work that you do? I'm being smiling. I don't know if it's
No.
does it happen?
I was praying for you not to mention the government, because that's like very No, but support has been amazing, especially from the development partners. You're looking at the Francais, Gossi Institutes. Those organizations are passionate about fusing technology into culture and heritage, right? But it would be good to have more support from the top four tech companies like Microsoft, Facebook, and the rest, right? To help democratize the tech on the continent, give accessibility to more hardwares, to more developers, and also mentors that can support these guys to learn about it. It's very important for us to jump on it as much as or as soon as possible. Sorry.
Okay, and I always try to compare, because we need to compare to our reality. Here in Angola, we have a lot of starting to talk more about the tools, the RVs, the ARs. But what happens here, you get to know go to a shop to buy it. I mean, it's not accessible because there's no. You find a couple of equipment that's been sold, but it's still not enough in order to get interest of the majority of young people. I always talk about young people because the tendency of being more curious about technology, and being curious, they actually end up learning even their curiosity. So let us know, you guys have easy access to equipment, to tools, VR tools and software and all of that.
I can relate to what you're saying, right? Accessibility is very important, right? The hardware is expensive, like I said, close to, I know Facebook gave an update, or Meta gave an update, they're increasing the price of the VR headset to $399, correct? So imagine how can an average African afford a VR headset when you are not think of food, shelter, and clothing, right? So what we are trying to do so far that has worked for us is basically sharing, right? Sharing in terms of giving access to the community. So for example, if there's an event and they need access to VR headsets, we have access to VR headsets, we could share it and they could use it for it, right? So those that want to learn, that have VR ready system but don't have a VR headset, we could share them access to that headset and they can build with it. So when they're able to build projects or work on projects, they make money, they buy VR headsets, and we have like a pool of VR headsets and everybody is basically pushing it. So for us, it's to boost accessibility is basically sharing the knowledge, sharing the tech, and just building it.
Very well. Ibrahim, thank you so much. I'll get back to you. We're just trying to do the presentation so we can take the best out of this time. I'm gonna talk to Abdul Kadre Diop, directly from Senegal, the CEO of Own Lands. Own Labs. Sorry for
Own Labs, yeah.
Hi, how are you? How are you doing today?
I'm good.
Good.
I just married in Saturday. That is why, because
that's why you're smiling.
Yeah, I'm just smiling. So
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Tell us, as the CEO of Own Labs, how'd you get involved? Why'd you get involved? And how is it going so far?
So when I start to doing some VR stuff, it was when I was student at Polytechnical School of Dakar. So in my mind, the path was too simple. Problem, solution, impact. But I wasn't prepared to the reality of the market and the adoption of that kind of material. Like Aaron said it, a VR headset is very expensive. It's not possible to give a VR headset to every student in the school. So when we start Own Labs, the idea was simple. A student can do all his scientific classes without making any practical work into science courses, like in chemical, physics, and biology. In Africa, in many countries of Africa, we don't have a laboratory. So the idea was simple: create a virtual laboratory. So that is Own Labs. So we get from the beginning, we get just a smartphone, and a cardboard, and we develop a virtual lab. We're starting by biology, we integrate some stuffs, but the quality was not good. So after that, we use a standalone headset. I think it was the Oculus Go, and we make something exportable. So we make a free experiment in physics, chemic, and biology, something like this is the solar system, and that, and we go to the market. We go into some schools. We say, hey, we got that. Do you want it? It solves your problem. And the difficulty was the cost of the material. So when we see that, we say it's good. Economically, it is not affordable, so it can be difficult. We say we will reduce the cost to open the market, like, and before that we will test. So we get some virtual reality headset, and we go into some region of Senegal. We go to Saint Louis. We go to Thiès, into the countryside. We say some students they never see some scientific material, and we test with us, with her. And the return was very, 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 very good from those students. We test with 300 students into 4 regions of Senegal and 50 students. So after that, due to the problem of material, we go to own book. So we simplify all the process, just get a book, something the student already have, and we say we will do the same principle about scientific classes, but with just a book and a smartphone. So that is own book, and with own book, the student can see some materials with his smartphone and a book. So sorry for my English. I'm French.
No, it's okay.
I just try, guys.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Don't worry, because we understood. But we have some participants also to understand even how it works, because a lot of people that don't know much about how this virtual reality operates. But I'd like you to explain again. Certificate, right? But how is it that you managed to get those school information to your own labs? Explain exactly how you do it, because it's a bit complex for me to understand. Even me myself also want to get to know how you guys do it.
So the question is how we go to schools, or how we get the content for courses.
The content, yes.
The content. So
Yeah.
for the content, I have one I know one person who is lecturer into science. So I go to him and I say, oh, I want to start learning science by here. So can you help me? Because I don't really know what is science. I'm a software engineer, so I can make some stuff of software engineer, but not into pedagogical things and all of that. So that was my first partner, and we go to the program from Ministry of Education, and we say, oh, for this classes, that is the program, that is the content, that is the things the students need to know. So we go from that. And with all that information, we reconstitute a sort of game design, something fun, with sounds, with interaction, with feedbacks and all of that. What kind of camera do you use? And that was a process. So that was into into the debate. So now we get a partnership with Senem. It is a community of professors into Senegal who want to vulgarize new technologies into school. So now we're working with them, and they validate all the process of construction of any experiments into on book or on labs on all product into education.
Okay, okay. So it's very, very interesting how you actually you get the information from a book, you put it on the software, and give it back to the students so they can use the tools to actually understand, you know, because they learn. It seems that the students start learning, you know, right? They actually can see exactly what, let's say, if you're talking about the human body, you know, and using all that software tools that you guys have, you know, to make it fun, to make learning.
Yeah. Yeah, that is you can't learning if you don't have any fun. It is impossible to learning without fun. So from the content, the courses at school, and the experiments, we need a transformation of all the things, because it is not possible to have something boring or something very hard. This is not that. This is not that. We need to generate fun from students.
Exactly. And tell me, what's your biggest challenge? You know, what's the biggest challenge that you have so far? You know, what makes it difficult? Is it difficult for you to like expand this way of teaching? And in fact, in 5 years from now, or do you reckon that this way that you guys managed to find that will help people, students learn having fun? How do you see yourself? Do you think it's going to be implemented to the whole youth, to the schools, to universities in your country? Do you think you guys are going to easily embrace without questioning, without doubts? I don't know if you understand my question.
I think I don't know how to say it in English, but it is something like reasonable doubt.
Okay.
Tout raisonnable. You need to have reasonable doubt. Yeah. So you need to doubt about what you are doing now, but with some reflection about the realities. So this is how you can make the leapfrog, I think, because if you just have your idea into your head without the adoption of the market and the impact of this is a nonsense. So you need to get feedbacks. You need to talk people. You need to see what are their problems. What is the problem? You need to know what they don't say about what you are doing.
Okay. But tell me, Abdul, do you have any videos that we could share with us so we can see more or less?
I can share you the pilot phase about own labs. It is a new laptop, so I don't know. So just give me some.
Okay, no worries. You can check on that, and we're gonna get back to after we finish with every one of you guys. Do you find it? Do you have it?
Okay, no problem. So give me just some minutes, and I.
Okay, no worries. Now I'm gonna speak to Walid Kilonzi from Kenya, extended reality producer. Tallhide, am I right, Walid?
Yes, you are. Lovely to be here today.
Talk to us. It's good to have you here also. Tell us how's it like in Kenya? How is technology, is it taking over? Is it still difficult? Is it still misunderstood? how do you see yourself? Tell us about your company and how you're implementing this transformation in Kenya.
Great. Yeah, let me reintroduce myself. My name is Walid Kilonzi. I'm an extended reality producer at Fallowhide, based here in Nairobi, Kenya. But we do have reach pretty much all over Africa, both southern, west, central, and we're trying to look for northern Africa now. We mainly do 360 productions, but we also do augmented reality, training simulations, virtual tours, pretty much anything VR, AR, and MR related, which is virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality related. We are currently also pursuing training artists to bring them into VR training of sorts, whereby we're training them how to use the VR technology to make art, and we're also looking into trying to train filmmakers to shoot in 360, and that reception has been quite wonderful. So I think the way I see it with Kenyans is that they love to see something new, and they don't know how it works. So when they finally get to engage with it, they get very excited, and they are like, how can I use this? And quickly there's a domino effect. The other thing that really helps with Kenyans is that they're quite exposed, not just in terms of traveling or having access to good information. No, also the surroundings, people around them are usually well traveled. So they'll hear about certain technologies. And when they finally see it, they finally appreciate it. And we're able to sit down and show them the path of, okay, if you use this technology this way, it'll kind of solve your problem this way and that way. So I would say it's not too bad. I think the perception is two things. One is that the technology looks expensive, but it's not as expensive as it used to be. Then number two, there's this perception we're trying to drive out that VR is only for gaming, but it can also be used for other things.
Yes.
Making art, collaborating with other people from other continents, training, you name it. So that's also something we're trying to drive away. We want to make a game, we want to make a VR game, but the only reason why we didn't do it is because of that perception. So we first want to introduce different perspectives into that, then we'll get into that space. So that's that.
Very well, thanks. There was something very interesting we say. Nowadays, I've actually seen, but I didn't much understand when I saw it. Art, people doing presentations of works of art using the virtual reality. But I don't know if it takes a little bit of that emotion. You go into a gallery, but in this case, this time around, just the gallery comes to you with the virtual reality. And how was the experience? Tell me the feedback. The people still prefer the traditional ways, or they're actually getting more interested on using virtual reality to see art and get to understand art and go to a showroom of art exhibition through virtual reality?
Great. So I'll speak about two things. One is the project Rome is doing currently in Nigeria, and they're digitizing historical artifacts and African art to put them in a VR space so that it's accessible to people wherever they are. So,
Yeah.
For instance, they digitize a specific museum. So
Okay.
you can't move the artifacts from that museum and let it tour everywhere. But with the beauty about VR, all you need is a VR headset. So in this case, you don't have much of an option of saying, hey, this is the emotion that I feel. I think what makes it better is the fact that you have access to it, and that will wow you. So either way, you're having that emotion that you're currently looking for. Then number two is that on our end, we are currently looking at the high number of mobile phones, especially within Africa, and we're trying to kind of take advantage of that. So what we're currently doing is we're making new art, or rather new media. So we're training artists. For example, we just concluded our Nairobi Fat Cup cohort. So Nairobi Fat Cup is us training artists to make graffiti in VR. But the beauty about it is we're not just showcasing in VR, but also showing it with augmented reality. So we print the artworks, people are able to scan, and they have an AR experience. So we're taking advantage also of locally accessible technology, which makes the experience far, far much better. So we're also trying to kill that novelty of the technology so that we now can even challenge ourselves to make even more creative experiences that are more immersive and that people want to watch. So to me, I think there are two ways of looking at it. Accessibility to this technology is limited. So how can we use it as a transporting system by taking certain spaces virtually, what Aroma is doing, but also at the same time, then again, repeating my point, what is accessible? Mobile phones. So how can we make immersive experiences with that? So we make augmented reality experiences.
Very much, very much interesting, very much interesting. I got the sense that if I want to get to know Kenyan culture, you know, I travel to Kenya. Well, I get there, you put me a VR glasses and on to cultural aspect about Kenya, right? I mean, because if you can use it, and that's how I understand it. You know, easy and fun way to get to know the culture of another country. You know, just immerse yourself in virtual reality. Going to show us different parts of what Kenya is like: the monuments, artists, musicians. It's very interesting. I think it's my opinion regarding to how you guys, Eric Brown, Aram Ibrahim, Walid Kilonzi, and Abdul Kader. I see the emotion in which you talk about what you do, and I think it's very good that you guys keep going. If you guys believe it, we are the ones going to take advantage of what you guys on your belief, because we all are going to get exposed to what you guys are doing right now, and make it easy to interrelate with other countries. Like I'm just thinking now, if you guys had to come to Angola, I had so many places to take you, just with the glasses, you'd go to our nice beaches that we have here. You'd go to nice spots like, see the sunset, to see old churches that we have here in Angola, beautiful old from colonial era roads that's still there, so it sounds very interesting. I don't know if you guys want. I want to ask people in the audience, people that are actually taking this webinar that we're doing. If you guys have any questions, you can just ask the questions, and maybe we're gonna share some of the answers here with our participants. Before Dr. Kadre was going to show us an example of some of the teaching or the ways of learning and teaching that he uses there in your workspace. So if you're free to show us what you have now.
Okay, you can see my screen?
Yes, sure.
Okay, so that was our pilot phase test into Senegal.
Well, there's no sound. You can only see the image without sound.
Oh, so there is no sound.
Okay.
There is sound or
no? There's no sound. No sound.
There's no sound. Okay, I think it is what.
Do you hear me? It's good now, huh?
No, still, it's frozen. We won't see it.
So I think now you can. It's good.
No, we can't hear.
You hear
Maybe
what?
the volume there's. You think about the volume, probably, maybe.
Oh, the volume is too high or is too low?
No, we can't. It's too low because we can't hear. We can't hear anything.
Oh, okay. So I can post the link.
Okay.
It can be better because I just put the link into the chat. It's better. Okay.
No, listen. I mean, if there's no sound, let's just maybe we can understand from the images that we're going to see. So you have an idea.
I added into the chat. I sent a message into the chat. It is in LinkedIn, in our LinkedIn page.
Okay.
So that was our pilot phase. So we're just going to the student and say hello, come test, and the students say I was not loving chemical studies, but now I will love it because I see some Elmer, some composite, and I see I see how to make a melange. I'll say
Okay.
make a mix, and now I want to test it into reality, and I love more chemical.
Yes. Okay. Cool.
That's why.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kadri. Thank you so much. I'm gonna go back to Eric Brown. Eric Brown, right at the beginning. Eric, I can see you there. Right at the beginning, will explain to us that what you deal with is mixed reality, immersive technology. I don't know if you have any videos that you would like to share with us for a few minutes.
Sure, I can do that. One moment while I share my screen. It says who can share. All participants who can share. Okay.
Actually, I also want to say it again. Anybody in the audience want to ask any questions, feel free to ask questions, and our participants here can answer. Get any doubts out.
Are you guys able to see my screen?
Yes.
And feel free to queue up your questions. Definitely happy to answer and learn. I think this is an opportunity for us just to engage. And so I'm going to fast forward a bit here. But you said you want to see a video. So I have a few examples. One, I'll start off with just showcasing what is it like for me to be in HoloLens? And one thing too, I gotta make sure in sharing, I'm not sure if audio was included, and let me share audio. And now I'm gonna reshare. Cool. So let me know if you guys can hear the voiceover. Menu, in addition to, I'm able to see. Were you guys able to hear?
Not really. I can't hear anything. I can't hear.
I think it was possible to hear at the beginning of the video.
The room that I'm in, but ultimately, what brings the greatness to mixed reality is this ability that the HoloLens understands the environment that I'm in. It may not know that it's a table or that's a pillow, but it knows kind of the shape and the mesh of these various objects. And so it has spatial awareness. One thing too, as you can notice before, if you can see the little pointers, the HoloLens is able to track my fingers and my hands. And so I'm able to push and drag and drop and move holograms around. In addition to that, I'm able to use head tracking and gaze to be able to interact with holograms and allow applications to know where I'm looking or where my attention is in that particular experience. And so once again, what's great about mixed reality is the blending of the physical and digital. It has spatial awareness, hand tracking, and head and eye tracking. Menu, in addition to, so I'm not sure, were you guys able to hear the voiceover? You were? Okay. So yeah, so one thing about this experience is with mixed reality, like mentioned, you're able to see the real world, able to see that couch, but also overlay and see my menu, see my applications. Augmented reality does have a similar experience, but the difference between augmented reality and what I shared here is that the HoloLens or the device is able to have an awareness of what's in the room and knows that there's a mesh of a table or different things in the objects in the room, and the applications are able to be able to interact with those physical objects. And so, for example, one of the biggest use cases is remote assistance. So right now I'm here in DC metro area, and you guys are all over the continent of Africa. And so you guys could be seeing what I see in real time and being able to give me guidance on a particular item. And so that's something that's valuable. Another scenario is step-by-step instructions. If I have a really complex, piece of material in front of me, multiple steps to be able to fix or build, the device is able to recognize the object and then be able to put information in context to say, okay, here's what you do first, here's what you do second, here's what you do third, being able to do things in a more efficient way, but also make less mistakes.
Very good, very interesting. So
sorry, I have a question, two questions.
Sure.
Eric. So the first question is, so I had the opportunity to make use of the HoloLens, right? And to be sincere, I wasn't impressed because I don't know if it's me, but the field of view is quite small.
No, that's yeah, that's a great point. And I think, one of the things that he's referring to is like, when you look through the device, I'll put one on real quick. One moment, real time here. So as you put on the device, in reality, when you have your glasses, you're able to kind of see a really large field of view. I'm able to see this full wall. And so when you put on a headset, typically you want to be fully immersed. And so if you come from VR where you're able to kind of look around and see all angles, when you look in mixed reality, you're only able to see the augmentation in a particular view. And so he's saying that, hey, I was expecting to be able to see the animations everywhere I look, but only it's within a certain field of view. And so that is something that has been feedback. And it's interesting is like, although it's not perfect, it definitely could be wider. Each iteration, it gets better. So the version 1, people were saying, hey, it was much smaller field of view than this current version. So each iteration is going to be a bigger field of view, but that's a great comment. And I think that is something that some individuals have a con about of saying, hey, like, I feel like I should be more immersed than I am.
Sure. So my second question is on costs, right? It's an amazing piece of hardware, but how do we get to that level whereby we could access it? Because I believe the hardware is basically built for enterprise-based businesses and organizations. And it's an amazing technology. So how can we reach that stage whereby we can have it? Basically, we developers can have access to it and be able to build with it. Because if it's at this level and we can't reach it, right, then accessibility and building with it might be a problem.
No, that's a fair question. I think that's one that comes up a bit around this innovation in general, being able to have access and cost. One thing that was mentioned before, even today, you're using kind of a shared model of saying, hey, we have a few devices. How can we be able to expose and to be able to have a collaborative experience? So that's one aspect. But in regards to like getting access to the device up front, there are lots of grants and universities that are getting access to these devices, in addition to development centers to say, hey, we'll pay the upfront cost, and we just want to be exposed developers and students to this technology without them having to pay the upfront cost. And so I think the more that we sponsor models where institutions, universities, libraries, nonprofits get access to these technologies and be able to share and expose, I think that's what we can do kind of as a first step. But the second piece is, as this technology becomes more accessible with each version, it becomes cheaper. And so in the future, I can see it being at a price point where it's easily accessible for every individual to get access to it. But for the time being, right now, universities or institutions are buying these devices for developers and just giving them access to it.
Thank you so much, Eric.
I have a question. Can you share a live feed with the HoloLens?
Share a live feed?
Yeah.
Yes, you can. Now, I'm not prepared to do it at this moment, but in
Yeah.
theory, in this call, if I set it up, what the HoloLens has a local web server. And so if we're on the same network, I can log into a browser on my computer, access the HoloLens and be able to see a live feed and share that like I'm sharing my screen now. And so that's something that is very popular as far as being able to make it real. And that's exactly what I did here. I was able to have the live feed. I recorded it locally on my machine and then published it back. But in theory, I could do this in real time and it could be showed on a live stream or just in a local audience.
I'm currently working with a very interesting company. I really wish I could say who they are, but they have factories all over the world, and they want to use. We're currently using VR to train them, especially with safety, and we're getting into the factory now, like using now hand tracking simulations, mostly with the Quest. And I wonder, is there a special, especially for research and development, is there a special sort of negotiation or talks that you can have to kind of have a couple of these with a slightly understandable fee with these lenses? Because I think the company that I'm talking about, it's very big. They're pretty much everywhere, and they want to implement it everywhere. But now here's the cost factor becomes the thing. The beauty about the HoloLens is that you just need 2 or 3. You should be good, at least at this stage. But is there like a program where like enterprises can do research and development in conjunction with Microsoft to make it a seamless transition?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's definitely layered. We could definitely have a call offline in more detail around it, but there are partnerships from a research and development standpoint to say, hey, here are things that we are trying to solve for, problems that Microsoft hasn't solved with the device, and we're willing to work with you to solve this problem. Is there a way that we can kind of work together to be able to solve it? And in doing so, maybe be able to get access to the device or access to some technologies that maybe aren't released yet. And so that's definitely something that can be done and has been done in the past. And like I said, we can follow up offline to kind of talk about those details. Another thing I would say, and I'll share this next clip, is one that is very common around remote assist in healthcare. And so, even now we're collaborating here on the Zoom call, but like it's 2D. But imagine if you were able to, see things in context or be able to annotate and view at the factories or what have you. There's some scenarios where VR is excellent. And then there's some scenarios where you need to actually see the physical being or the physical product and the digital asset at the same time. And this is one of the use cases, and I made a short clip of it just to kind of give you an example.
The Dynamics with remote assist. The Dynamics 365 with remote assist, coupled with the HoloLens technology, allows us to have surgeons operating with Uganda completely connected with surgeons here in Mount Sinai.
Through this HoloLens, Dr. Marin is able to see exactly what I am saying. He's able to have a real-time view of my surgical field 7,000 miles away.
This young girl who comes in with a significant problem that isn't commonly encountered in this community is something we see here at Mount Sinai multiple times on a weekly basis. What was your plan in terms of incisions?
So my initial plan was to make an elliptical incision.
Sometimes it's actually helpful to do a circular incision. I'm just going to trace out for you what I'm thinking.
It was so clear now. How I would have approached it would not have offered me the advantage.
So without showing the full thing, that's a use case scenario that's very common. And what's interesting is like, we talked a lot about like different device points. HoloLens is a great one and it's valuable, but you could do that same scenario with a mobile phone. And so I think depending on the use case scenario, sometimes having the full headset makes sense, and sometimes having a mobile device makes sense too. And so that's just one example that has been able to have a lot of value. But I think the main thing is the collaboration and the knowledge transfer that can happen when learning and having fun or learning and being immersive that maybe you can't get through a phone call or through just a regular video call that we're doing right here. So I'm going to stop sharing. Those are the two examples that I had.
I was actually very, very impressed. It's so fun. It's so nice when you so many miles, kilometers away from one country to another, and you can still help, be there in a room, making incisions, operations. It's pretty much out of this world. It's very, very, very interesting. I think this kind of technology nowadays, makes us. It can become cheaper because you don't have to travel to go get training. You can actually be where you are, and immerse yourself in the topic that you need to get to know and learn more of what you're looking for. Exactly, it's pretty much interesting. I have a question here to all of you guys. How can African countries, have more synergy, on sharing all those different abilities, that you guys have regarding to the RVs? Do you guys think we could actually be more connected so we can share more ideas, be more creative, and get the best out of it? I'll start with Walid.
And I'm really passionate about this, and Rome and I have spoken at length about this. It's kind of funny to be in an industry pretty much alone, let's say in the country, and you don't reach out. It's kind of weird. Why? Because there are a bunch of other guys who are out there willing to collaborate, to help, and stuff like that. I remember when I got into the industry some 6 odd years back, when it was practically non-existent. I was talking to guys in Brazil who could barely speak English. I was talking to some Pakistani guys, and we're exchanging notes. We're saying, oh, this works, this didn't work for me. We are even exchanging to a point where, like, philosophical notes in terms of directing in 360 and all these kind of things. And through that collaboration with people who, like, we can barely speak the same language, we're barely on the same continent, we're able to kind of come up with amazing projects and go on to do amazing things. So to me, I think we can come closer to the point whereby we can form, maybe I might be spoiling an initiative that might be coming soon, but form up some sort of umbrella company within Africa. Be like, hey, all these VR companies make VR stuff or AR stuff. So there's access in Nigeria, there's access in Kenya, there's access in Uganda, and we all can share the same clients. I work mostly with multinationals. I've worked with Coca-Cola. So what would stop me from saying that, hey, Arome, go talk to these guys, tell them that this has been done in Kenya, it can be replicated in Nigeria. That's not difficult. So really, to me, it's all about just coming together, trying to find connecting points. It's not easy, but there are connecting points. And I think as long as we sit down and put our heads together, it's not a difficult thing. It can actually make it more magical.
It's actually doable, right?
Yes, it is.
Aaron, do you have anything to say about what he just told us?
Walid has said it all. Like, he has said it from A to Z, right? I remember when we got connected, right? I think I was like friends with Walid for like a year, but we were not talking, right? I was following his work actually. And I was like, okay, this guy is doing amazing stuff in Kenya, right? Why not just come and share what you're doing with the rest of Africa, right? Through some maybe online seminars and conferences. And he was cool with it, right? If you can ask Walid, I always tell him, try and push out what you're doing, right? The world is big enough, right? Share your story, right? Tell them what you're doing and see who follows, right? Eric also has been amazing. He has been super supportive, right? Always open to speaking at our events and initiatives. So collaboration and partnership is very important, right? I understand we have kind of like a stereotype about that on the continent, but we need to change that. We need to really, really change how we collaborate, right? I know like one of the co-founders of Own Labs, right? We're in conversations now to see how we can implement what they're doing in Senegal, here in Nigeria, right? With schools and educational institutions. So partnership is very important. Let's just collaborate, right? We don't have access to hardware, right? My access to my first VR headset was not actually mine, right? It was a community-based headset, right? But I built with it. I was able to make revenue and buy my own headsets, and now I'm sharing with the larger community. So the industry is quite small. We are like this, right? We know everybody, right? So let's just try and collaborate more and just share what we're doing, right? The world is waiting for Africa, so let's just do it.
Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks so much, Aram. It's really important for us to be able to share. It's really important for us to be able to, not lose track. Walid is doing something very important. Eric is also doing something exquisite. Abdul Kader also doing something very, very top. So if you could every month we could share exactly what one and the others were doing. Could actually even try to get to schools, to our schools, to be able to present what this innovation it's been brought about, because at the end of the day, what we want is get more knowledge. This technology is exponential; it doesn't stop. If you think that we are learning enough, and maybe like in 2 months, 3 months time, I'll get back to this, then you fall behind. So this is something, having people like you guys with so much with knowledge, it's pretty amazing. And I guess we should do this more often. This synergy, it's really important. Eric all the way from in the States, and giving us all of this information, which is really good. I don't know if we have our participants want to ask any questions. Anybody has questions to address to Eric, to Walid, to Abdul, to Aram, you can just ask your questions, no problem. If not, I would like you guys to do your final thoughts about this virtual reality and augmented reality, so we can actually finalize our webinar. I'll start with you, Aram.
I guess we have actually said it all, right? The tech it's amazing, right? What Eric just shared is like adrenaline to my system, right? Just keep pushing, right? So let's just see what we can do. It can be challenging at times, right? I usually share my stories with Walid, right? It's not easy, but it's a journey that is worthwhile. It's a journey that the next 20, 30 years we'll be proud of that we started it. And seeing how we can give more voices to some amazing creators on the content is what we are also, all of us are passionate about, supporting each other and just reading with the tech and see how far we can go.
Thank you very much. This is Aram Ibrahim, all the way from Nigeria, 360 VR developer expertise immersive. Thank you so much. Abdul Kader, what you want to leave here with conclusions that you want to share with us before we finish?
Thank you. Like Aram said, Mohamed of my team, Mohamed Sek, we just that was a moment to think about how to scale, and I think Nigeria in Africa, it is the best market. So we have a product and we need to test the Nigerian market. And Mohamed talked with Aram. And into the future, when we will launch into Nigeria, we will get a point of running, and we pass by Aram. I think that is that kind of synergy. It is the thing you can do. We are not numerous, and like right now, when Walid say what you are doing, I think about the island of Gorée we have in Senegal. That was one of the big country of slavery. And I think we can do something. So don't hesitate to contact me, Eric, Walid, around. And I think we will see many things to do. And that is how we will facilitate the integration of that kind of technologies into the continent, because we represent a small part, a really small part of the market, and a really small part of the market, meaning a big opportunity. So that will be very, very, very hard, but the opportunity is there because the market is not explored. So just create some convergence and collaborate between us. I think it's a real good things. Thank you.
We'll be speaking to Abdul Kader Diop, CEO of OnLens, all the way from Senegal. Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
hope to speak to you pretty much soon. Now, I will to Walid Kilonzi, your points of view, your conclusions.
I think, yeah, we must stress the idea of collaboration. We must think about how we can come together and put our brains together, because I think it would be quite interesting to see what the next generation of XR, especially in Africa, looks like. With all these trainings that we're doing, with all this exposure of this equipment, I think, to me, I'm interested in seeing that, and it really falls onto us. We must come up with that path. We are pioneers, so we need to act like it. And also, really, I think Black people and Africans are constantly fighting for cultural space. And I think I keep on mentioning this in every talk that I have this year. We're constantly fighting for cultural space. So for the first time ever, I feel like we have a foothold on a technology that can help us express what it means to be an African, what it means to be Black. And I think we should take that opportunity and make amazing things. One thing I always say is that we're currently trying to find funding for our trainings, but I've told myself, whether or not I make pennies on the corporate end, I will still do that. Why? Because I've seen the impact of what it means to tell stories in a VR space, in an AR space, and stuff like that. So I think as we continue to fight for that cultural space, it's important to create, it's important to collaborate. So I think that's my 2 cents.
Important to create, important to collaborate. Those are the words of Walid Kilonzi, all the way from Quénia, extended reality producer. Thank you so much. Last but not least, Eric Brown Jr., what's your conclusions from this webinar? What your advices you leave for everybody that's following us?
Sure. No, it's a pleasure. And I appreciate the time and space that we've made to share. And I think my takeaways, and kind of echoing what's already been said, is collaboration and partnership is key. And I think that you talked about the fourth industrial revolution. We're at a pivotal time where this technology is emerging, but at the same time, this is going to be the base of the next generation of the internet and the next generation of being able to have ownership. And so as a people holistically, being able to in community share and empower everyone to build. So think about like the internet. When we were making web pages for the first time, people building e-commerce, like, what's that? But now with mixed reality and virtual reality in this immersive space, we as a people have the opportunity to, one, like you said, tell our stories, to build our own businesses, and to be able to make this as a catapult as a people. And I think it's important for us to take advantage of it, but we have to share, we have to collaborate, and we have to do it in community. And so I'm looking forward to continue to learn and grow with you all. And feel free for those who are attendees to reach out to us as we build, and let's continue this process, because it's ongoing work, but it's worth it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Eric Brown Jr. Thank you so much, Arom Ibrahim, Abdul Kader Diop. Thank you so much, Walid Kilonzi. Once again, I'm Edo Somaida. I represent Tech 21 Africa. Enjoyed pretty much being with you guys. I'm gonna learn more because I'm pretty much more interested on what every one of you guys is doing. And I hope all the participants that were here were able to get more information, get more awareness of what's going on with this virtual reality, because it came to stay. And it's not gonna wait for nobody to decide to actually learn how to use, how to make sure that this kind of equipment and technology is just here to support us, here to actually aid us, help us, towards a more developed country and developed nations. That's what we need. That's what we need. Thank you guys all. To also say thanks to Widow Brand, making this webinar possible. I would like to also thank the Association of the Translators of Angola, also helping us here to be able to reach other people from different nationalities, different cultures, and different dialects. So thank you guys. I hope you enjoy your day, your evening, your afternoon, depending on what's the hour where you guys are. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you guys soon. Okay? Take good care.
Thank you so much, guys.
There was a logistical question in the chat around where can we get the recording of this call?
We will be able to record to get the recording because we just we're going to be sharing. Kias Galito will actually deal with those sharing of the video, but soon. Well,
yes,
also?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Okay,
Tomorrow we'll be able to get it. Okay. Thank you guys so much.
Bye,
Thank you.
guys. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Eric, Walid.